Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another marvelous episode of The Gold Standard with Alan Mosley. And here's your host, Alan Mosley.
Marvelous.
Marvelous.
That's a good one for this episode.
Yes, it is.
People will understand that in a moment.
Stay tuned. You will totally get it.
Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of The Gold Standard. I am your host, Alan Mosley, joined always by not just a producer, but the producer.
I'm the producer.
Blake Osborne.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Much. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm going to start writing "the" in front of every single time I write my name on something.
You know, I actually had somebody mention the other day. One person said, "Who's that guy with Alan?" And another person said, "You hardly ever ask what Blake's up to." So, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Yeah. This morning was a good morning, man. Yeah. You know, I got up this morning. I'm tired from a long week of taking care of kids, and I mucked a goat stall today. Yes. Wow. I'm surprised I don't smell sitting next to you. Let me tell you something, man. You don't know what it's like to raise goats until you've mucked a goat stall. That's cultivation right there.
So here's the thing about that. So not only do I not know what it's like to raise goats, I'm not gonna know.
Yeah, you don't have to. That's why I raise goats, so you don't have to.
Yeah. So people at home don't know this, but every day when we wrap the show, we leave here.
Yep.
And you go tend your goat farm.
I take care of my goats, yes, and my children, which are about equivalently difficult. Yeah. So yes, it's an interesting. You
have like your crook staff, and you stand out in the field.
No, I don't do that.
You don't do that?
I just throw them out in the pasture and say, "Eat my weeds."
See, that's all I know about goats. That's it. We've just reached.
Yeah. Okay, that's all you need to know. Yes, we're very good.
Well, there you go. So that was
goats aren't hard.
So there's our semi-annual update on Blake's life. There you go.
Exciting.
I like it. So speaking of excitement, this is going to be a fun episode. This is an interesting time for us.
Yeah.
We are fast approaching the 1 year anniversary of the Gold Standard.
Yeah, man.
Does it feel like it's been a year?
I can't believe it's episode 31.
I definitely feel a year older, that's for sure. But I don't feel like we've done a year of the show.
Yeah. You know, and when you're doing your thing and you're going your day by day, you forget how fast time passes, and you get to a point and you're like, oh my gosh, it's been a year. You know, it's like Christmas to Christmas, birthday to birthday for us too. We're always amazed. You know, sun up, sundown, you're like, wow.
I'm just going to stop you right there, though, because if this becomes one of those things where we talk about life and aging and reminiscing.
This is supposed to be marvelous.
Yeah, that's getting way. I'm not emotionally prepared for that. But that's okay. So guys, if you want to follow us online, you can do so on Facebook, which is facebook.com/TGS Alan Mosley. You can get me on Twitter, which is @Alan M. Mosley. And I've got a whole bunch more stuff to share for you this week.
Oh, yeah.
So first of all, you will occasionally be able to find me on twitch.tv. We actually started a Twitch TV channel where you will be able to see, it's still in the works. You'll be able to see streaming episodes of all the shows on Little L Productions.
Well, there you go.
Oh, by the way,
ahead, didn't you?
Oh, by the way.
By the way.
we are pleased to announce the opening. Is it opening?
I guess just the launch.
The launch of our media network. Right. That sounds so official.
Yeah.
But it's really not.
Bigger every day, aren't you?
But it's really not, though, because it's really just the same stuff.
Yeah.
But with more friends. That's what it really is.
Yeah.
So we are proud to launch Little L Productions, which we are doing along with our good friends Sherry Voluntary and Mike Meharry, who've both been on the show a number of times. Little L Productions is going to be represented by The Gold Standard with Alan Mosley, which is really the best show on the network.
Pretty much.
That's really the best one.
Yeah, we're going to take props for that.
Shh, don't tell anybody.
No.
You'll be able to find Sherry Voluntary on the Sherry Voluntary Show. You have our show that we do together, Postcards from Somalia, that you'll hear a little bit more about on this show now, since it's all kind of officially together.
That's right.
You're also going to get Mike Meharry's doing a show for us, which I believe is Thoughts from Meharry's Head, but I'm not 100%. And actually, there's going to be a sports show on our network. The pilot for that show, which will be called Sports Ball, is Sports Ball's episode 1 is filming later today.
Oh, really?
Later today. I'm actually leaving here and going to do Sports Ball.
Awesome.
Like right now, I'm going to leave and you're going to do the show.
Not. No, you're going to finish the show and then
I'm going to finish the show. Okay. Play Sports Ball. That's exactly. There you go. So you're actually going to have, starting right off the bat, 5 programs a variety of awesome stuff. You've got your current events, your interviews, your sporting events.
Yep.
And me and Sherry making fun of dead people. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
All of that is going to be found on Little L Productions. You can find tons of content, including the occasional game stream, on twitch.tv/Little L Productions. That's Little, the letter L, and Productions, Little L Productions. And you can now also find all of those shows, including the Gold Standard, on your favorite podcast platforms, including iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and TuneIn.
Check it out.
Just just search the Gold Standard with Alan Mosley.
That's right. That's all you got to do, and you'll find us now.
You know what? I'm not even going to say almost like. We're a real show now.
Really? I'm impressed. It's about time. 31 episodes, gang, and it's all with your help. So let's keep it going.
Are we, though?
Are we? I don't know.
I don't know.
There's a couple of guys.
You know what? You haven't seen Thor Ragnarok yet, so you don't get that joke. The "are we though" is a joke. You'll see it. You'll see it soon. At the end of this episode, we're going to do a brief little review. We're going to talk about our thoughts and then some takeaways from Avengers: Infinity War.
We finally did it. Yes.
And I know what you're thinking at home. You're thinking, "Wow, that would have been relevant 2 months ago." Well, you know what? Screw you.
Hey.
We're doing it now.
That's right. You've all seen the movie, so we can't spoil anything. So
so now you don't have to worry. There you go.
Now we can have a good discussion.
We were helping you.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it is. So I think that's all of our.
That's all the housekeeping.
I think that's all of our housekeeping.
All right.
So we had a fellow. I was going to say gentleman, but that's incorrect. We had a fellow pass away recently that made all the headlines. So Senator John McCain of Arizona has left his mortal coil, and I can't even pretend to be somber. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that he's dead. He's dead, and I'm glad. I'm glad he's dead.
Ugh.
We talked about this on Postcards from Somalia with Sherry Voluntary, and we didn't hold back at all. I'm going to try to be a little bit more formal and nice on this episode, but I am going to share with you a few of my favorite ones. First one. You know what the best thing about John McCain is?
What?
He's in the past tense.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good.
I like that.
Yep.
Another good one was, I heard that they actually buried McCain 20 feet under instead of 6 feet to give him a head start.
Oh, jeez.
That's a good one. I like that one. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and get our meme of the week knocked out.
Oh, really? Okay.
Our meme of the week from Twitter.
Hold on. There it is.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
In lieu of flowers, the McCain family requests that you donate weapons and training to a moderate jihadist terrorist cell of your choosing.
That's right. That's right.
And that's what he's all about.
Yeah.
I mean, so real quick, I'm going to go on a really quick rant before I show you some more stuff. Actually, I'm going to show you these first.
Show us. Why not?
These are some of the respectful comments from other people.
Oh.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, everyone's favorite socialist that we're all done talking about. She said, John McCain's legacy represents an unparalleled example of human decency and American service. As an intern, I learned a lot about the power of humanity and government through his deep friendship with Senator Kennedy. Funny how she mentioned another murderer.
Kennedy.
But yeah, right. Wow. I love how you just laugh.
Oh boy.
So, boy, you want to talk about talk about this chick. Of course, she's economically illiterate because she's a socialist. But that being neither here nor there,
that is the least of her problems.
This lady hasn't even taken office yet, because I mean she's technically still a candidate, but you know she's going to win because the Democrat's going to win. But this lady hasn't even taken office yet, and she's already a swamp monster. If you think John McCain's legacy is an unparalleled example of human decency, you're fucking stupid. You're a goddamn idiot.
Wow.
Like, holy God.
Sheesh.
So hold on. Let me get through these.
Where's the word? Isn't the word betrayal supposed to betray?
Let me get through a couple of more of these before I go on my rant. Number 2 from Bernie Sanders.
Oh no!
Why do we have so many socialists?
I don't know, because they love flip floppers. They
should be physically removed.
Yeah.
Anyway, John McCain was an American hero, a man of decency and honor, and a friend of mine.
Because he sold them out all the time.
Hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He will be missed not just in the U.S. Senate, but by all Americans. That's a lie. Who respect integrity and independence. Jane and I send our deepest condolences to his family. So first of all, I don't know why his wife isn't in jail yet, but we'll talk about that later. So again, if you think that he deserves the respect of Americans who, quote, respect integrity and independence. You just have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. You are completely divorced from reality. But there's one more, and I don't know why I picked... really?
Elizabeth Warren?
I know. I actually picked all these leftists for two reasons. Okay. One, that the theme of the first half of this episode is hypocrisy. All these people are absolute hypocrites. But two, it just goes to show you that this is not a two-party system.
No.
There are not different branches. It is all just one rigged game. It's all a club that you're not in. Elizabeth Warren says, I count it as a blessing to have had the honor to serve with John McCain in the Senate and on the Armed Services Committee. If there ever was a true American patriot, John was that patriot. Not Samuel Adams or George Washington or no.
Those guys.
It's John McCain.
Yeah.
John was that patriot. I'll miss his strength and his maverick spirit, but most of all, I'll miss his kindness. His kindness. How kind he was to the Vietnamese, Iraqis, Afghanis, Yemeni, Syrians, Libyans, and Iranians. So terribly kind.
Yeah. Warmonger comes to mind.
So... we'll get to this article in just a second. Bring me back, because I want to go on a quick rant before we get to this article.
Okay, you want to rant? Let's see. That's
the rant cam. I like that.
That's the rant cam.
We should have a thing that says rant cam. Maybe season 2. Maybe in season 2 of the Gold Standard. Okay. So... there's so much I could say about John McCain, and absolutely all of it is terrible. But I just want to focus on the one thing that is absolutely the worst. The worst is that of all people, this is a guy who should know above anyone what the horror of war really is. This is a guy above anyone who should know how terrible it is, who knows what torture is, who knows what death and destruction is. He saw it up close. Of course, he was a part of it. Of course, he's been a part of it his whole life. Sure. Of course, he was delivering some of it to a bunch of innocent people. But that's beside the point. This is a guy who, you think of all those people, you think of all those servicemen, you think of all those veterans who went and served their country. I don't want to go there today. But who came back changed men. Yeah. Who came back feeling like a part of them they had lost. Yeah. And that it made them want to be anti-war from there on out, because they would never want another young person to go in their stead to feel that pain and to lose that part of their humanity. John McCain is a man who should know above all else what that means.
Yeah, because he's a POW. He'd been there, but
he did it anyway. Yeah. He came back emboldened, like he got a taste and he wanted more. But he didn't want more. He didn't go back for it. He sent countless more young Americans to lose their humanity and their spirit, and to deliver death and destruction downrange to a bunch of other innocent people around the world. Basically. He is an absolute piece of human filth, and I'm glad he's gone.
Wow. I don't disagree.
So, do you know where I stand on him?
I know where you stand.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
No, I mean, my problem with it is, in the pining. I know that everybody's one big club in the state. Yes. I get that. But, just the back and forth, and as soon as one side would get somewhere and something was about to happen, then Kane would say no. And he would shut it down. Even if it was good for America, even if it was bad for America, he was the guy that would always, just right when it came to him, right when it was that swing vote, he would go, hey, no.
That just reminded me. I'm gonna be doing a video. I'm actually just now telling you this. Okay. Poor Blake, who is the producer of the show, is actually finding out live on air today that I'm gonna enlist him to do something else.
Oh boy.
I'm going to film just a little 2 to 3 minute video for the Libertarian Institute. I'm going to share it with them. They're trying to do a little thing on Twitter. They're trying to get hashtag why I am anti-war trending, getting ready for, we're coming up on the anniversary of 9/11. Yeah. And wouldn't it be great that on that day of all days, instead of a bunch of hoorah, hoorah, support the troops, support the flag, who are the bad guys we're going after next, what they want to see trending is hashtag why I am anti-war. Yeah. And so we're going to do a little video about why I'm anti-war. And the spirit of what I just said is a little bit of what's going to be in that video. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. You know who else I wondered? One of the first people that came to mind when I heard the news was Scott Horton. Scott Horton is managing director of Libertarian Institute, editorial director, I believe, at antiwar.com, hosts the Scott Horton Show. Awesome guy, foreign policy expert. He's the go-to guy in the libertarian community for foreign policy. Yeah. I knew he'd have something good to say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And this was his article, published at the Libertarian Institute, titled, "John McCain was a horrible person and horrible senator, and I'm glad he's finally dead,"
Wow.
by Scott Horton.
Yeah.
I don't even need to read any more of the article. The title pretty much knocks it out. But McCain was a guy. This was a guy who I don't believe he really had principles. If he had a principle at all, his principle was expand as much death and destruction around the world as you possibly can. But I just went through the list a minute ago. I mean, you're talking about, of course, he was in bed with neo-Nazis in Ukraine. He supported regime change in Syria. He supported it in Libya, which happened.
Yeah.
He had even made comments against places like China, saying their Arab Spring was coming, whatever that's supposed to mean. These just bellicose statements constantly to basically everyone who's just not towing the line of American hegemony, which is absolutely disgusting. You want to talk about warmonger? This was neocon warmonger number one. I mean, this was the guy that the rest are towing the line. The Lindsey Grahams and the John Boltons of the world, can't wait for them to be gone too, quite frankly. But John McCain was their guy. So I absolutely feel nothing but just glee that he's no longer on this earth. He never got his war in Iran, thank God, but he certainly wanted it. He supported every military action in Iraq, even though that's quite obviously a huge failure. And there were even reports just as recently as a few weeks ago saying that he has sort of flip-flopped a bit on the wisdom of involvement in Iraq. But who cares? I mean, at this point, it's done. I mean, 1 million people have been killed or displaced. Who cares anymore how you feel about it? And the list goes on and on and on. Yemen, we talked about Yemen just a week or two ago.
That's still going on.
So really, you know what? I'm just going to say right now, because we have a few other things to cover, and then we can get to something more fun. This is the last time you're going to hear me say the words John McCain.
Yeah,
I'm
That's good.
Giddy to not ever have to think about that ever again.
That's good. I like it. Nice.
Good. I like it too.
We can breathe now.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So
there's a few more to go.
So staying with the theme of hypocrisy for this week, I had already mentioned Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I think I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. This actually comes from.
She's such a. Oh God. Oh, please.
Be careful. Careful now.
I know.
Careful.
I'm just controlling myself because I'm going to go off like you on that one.
You're going to be called racist and or sexist. Be careful.
No, I wasn't going to say anything about her being a woman or a Latino. I was just going to say that she's annoying.
But that's the thing, though, is that if you're a white man criticizing her, therefore you can't possibly have a legitimate criticism unless you must be a racist or a sexist.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I am because I'm white.
I would even go so far as to say both. Yeah. You're a sexist.
A resexist.
A resexist.
Okay, we'll write that down and talk to the dictionary.
You're going to have to put a resexist.
Yes, make it blink.
Yeah, there you go. So this actually comes from Zuri Davis from Reason Magazine. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez spends thousands on Uber after criticizing the, quote, unregulated service. So this just kind of goes to show you It's kind of that, rules for thee, but not for me.
Yeah.
I really like that phrase. I read that again recently. And this falls right in line with that. So the typical left-wing socialist progressive mindset is that if something comes along that upsets the delicate balance of whatever industry or union that I personally, garner votes from or support, then it must be regulated. And the hammer must come down, which of course is...
As long as it doesn't regulate them, they're okay.
It's a perversion of the market, and it's absolutely ridiculous because you have to ask yourself, well, why does something like Uber exist? Like, how did it didn't exist one day and then it did. So why did it come about? Things like that only come about because there is a need for it in the marketplace.
Yeah.
There are people that are unhappy with the services that are available, and a new actor comes in to provide a better service or a cheaper service or both or whatever, more convenient.
I was really surprised about the whole Uber thing when it happened a few years ago because I thought the taxi people had a union that was so powerful it was uncrackable.
Well, but they're not taxis; they're Ubers. It's not a
taxi.
They're independent contractors that work for Uber.
There you go.
And so that's the thing. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez Cortez, who, is crying crocodile tears for the cab drivers who are, quote, in financial ruin due to the unregulated expansion of Uber.
Become better taxi companies.
And so obviously, just with her imagination of an ant, the only way she can think to solve this problem, there is no problem.
No, there's no problem.
If the taxi service is hurting, first of all, the taxi service is hurting because it's horribly overregulated.
Yeah.
If you unregulated taxi services, it would probably improve.
Yeah.
But that being neither here nor there, the whole point is that people weren't happy with transportation options.
Right.
Uber comes along, people are using Uber. Mm-hmm. So the only way taxi services can possibly be hurt is that people are not using taxis and instead are using Uber.
That's right.
So if Uber comes along and people are using it, and that's a peaceful, voluntary exchange, why are you butting your ass into it?
Yeah, why do you want to shut it down?
Why are you getting involved at all? And so, and that's what makes her an economically illiterate socialist versus us, our Chad and Cap selves. but that being neither here nor there, the reason why I brought this up is that it's not just good enough to talk about that subject, and it's not just good enough to talk about how she comes out wanting steep regulations imposed against Uber to try to help the poor taxi company. But it's that her campaign spent thousands of dollars. It actually has on here, between the months of April and June, the campaign spent nearly $4,000 on 160 Uber rides and $2,500 on over 90 Juno rides. Juno is a competitor of Uber in that area. Mm-hmm. And so again, rules for thee, not for me. I've got to go on record as supporting the taxi union because they're a voting bloc for the left wing. And so I have to go on record as demanding regulation against Uber, unless of course I need an Uber. Yeah. In that case, I want to take an Uber because I understand how it is convenient and cheaper, and I prefer it as an alternative to flagging down a taxi. So really, she's in her extensive use of the service. She's showing clearly it's a better service. She personally obviously feels it's a better service, but for political reasons she must come out for regulation. That is why this is why politics is terrible. I mean, this is one of many reasons, and it falls in line with our conversation about hypocrisy. If there's I'm not going to say the words I said I'm never going to say again. JM. Yeah. But certainly being a warmonger and a monster who spreads death and destruction pretty much makes you the worst type of person on the planet. The second worst type of person on the planet is the type of person who believes in enjoying a service, believes in having that luxury for themselves, but when it is politically convenient, coming out against it. When it's politically, so what that tells me is, and we say this on the show, I've said it a number of times, I said it last week, we'll say it again. The type of person who would do that, the type of person who would only say and do things that are politically convenient or signaling to a base, but actually partake one way or the other. What that tells me is, madam, you have no principles. Right. You have no principles. You don't. Quit supporting people who have no principles. Right. And of course, I said this on the show last week. Most people don't have principles. Yeah. That's the ironic thing here is that most, and I mean this when I say this.
Right. And it's not insulting.
I mean it to be. I mean it to be
but
insulting.
I'm just educating people.
It's absolutely meant to be. If you don't have principles, you're a piece of shit.
Go get some.
So go get some.
Figure out what matters to you and write it down.
Just have principles. It's not that hard. Just have them.
Or at least define them.
So, now I'm not saying this to our audience. No. Our audience has principles. Are super educated. That's right. Very knowledgeable. Really just all the way around good looking. Yes, good looking. Attractive folks who are well read. Yeah. So I don't mean this to our audience. Yeah, our audience. But to the random person who had this pop up in their feed on YouTube, who clicked on it and said, "What's this guy about?" You don't have any principles.
And we just got shut off.
So you should listen. So go back and listen to prior episodes of the Gold Standard and develop some principles.
Find out how important that is.
So anyway, you know what? Bam.
Wow.
Let's talk about Infinity War.
Infinity War. You got to use that to call up some Infinity War footage, man. I mean, don't we get like a trailer or something?
No, then we're just gonna have this DMCA'd. We're gonna get kicked off.
Cool. Okay. All right. Well. Okay. I'll start.
Okay, no, hold on.
All right, you first.
So first of all, just give me your so we're gonna do impressions of the movie. Then give me like a star rating.
Okay.
1 to 5.
Sure.
How much you enjoyed the movie.
Sure.
And then we're going to talk about a libertarian perspective.
Okay.
Because this is a libertarian show.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about maybe some pet peeves or some gripes.
Yeah.
So first of all, what's your initial impressions of the movie?
Initial impression of the movie. Great movie. Good special effects. Great special effects. You know, it's cartoon-like in a way. A lot of green screen usage in there. But, you know, if you're into the Marvel universe and you can accept all that and it get past your, you know, being a video guy, I see green screens and special effects and technology everywhere. But I enjoyed the story. I have to see a lot more Marvel movies in order to put some pieces together that I didn't get. But
that's true.
Overall, great movie. Absolutely fantastic. As far as what I would rate it, I'm a dork. Come on, that's a 5. I mean, any movie like that is going to blow my brains out. I love that stuff. I eat it up. Even if it's cheesy, I love it. I just love that because I'm cheesy. I admit it, I'm cheese. Anything is cheesy, the more cheesy the better. But it wasn't that cheesy movie, but it had some cheese in it.
Okay.
I'm not very good at rating movies.
Okay. So I would say initial impression, obviously like a lot of people, I walked out of the theater thinking, wow, what an ending.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm not a huge comic book reader, but I know the general gist of what happens in the comics. And obviously there's difference. So we're not going to talk about the comic. We're only going to talk about the movie for the sake of that. I did enjoy the movie. I enjoyed the movie, and I immediately walked out of the theater thinking, man, I got to go find out when the premiere of the next one is.
Yeah.
Because it ends on a cliffhanger.
Major cliffhanger.
It ends pretty rough.
Yeah. We have to say Thanos got what he wanted.
Thanos got
what he wanted.
He got what he thought he wanted.
And it ended exactly the way he wanted it to end, which is crazy.
Thanos got what he thinks he wanted.
Right, but I don't think that it satisfied him.
Well, that's a whole other thing.
Right.
I will say, I mean, obviously 10 of 10 on effects and you know, all that.
Charts, man.
Of course, it is true. Now, I've seen more Marvel movies than you have. I'm not going to sit here and say I've seen them all. I haven't seen the new Spider-Mans.
Okay.
I haven't seen Black Panther. I'm a racist.
Right.
You know, there you go.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I know. I haven't.
We have to see that, by the way.
I haven't seen all the Iron Mans. I've seen some. I've seen the Thors. Thor Ragnarok. Oh, Thor Ragnarok is so good.
I've got to see that one. See,
we're gonna do this for Thor Ragnarok just because it's awesome.
Okay.
It's a really good movie. I actually liked Thor Ragnarok more than Infinity War.
Okay.
For a variety of reasons we'll get into later.
Okay.
I've seen all the Captain Americas. Captain America's my guy.
Yeah.
And now there's an irony to there because we talk so much about the state and all the things wrong with America, but I love Captain America. But that's what makes Captain America so cool because he himself is kind of like an embodiment of America, but as the series goes on, he gets away from that persona and he kind of becomes a much deeper character.
Right.
And that's why I like Captain America. He evolves.
Yeah.
And so I liked the movie. I'm interested in seeing the next movie. I can't give it 5 stars.
You can't.
I'm only going to give it 4 stars.
Okay.
And the reason why it doesn't get, maybe the next one gets 5 stars. Maybe how they bring it all together. I don't know. But I can't give it 5 stars because I've got some gripes.
You got some gripes. Okay.
Now,
what kind of gripes have you got? I want to hear this.
Now, I just want to say, because everybody's already turned off the episode, so I know it's just you.
I think people that are into this are really into this.
I know it's just you and me talking.
Okay, fine.
Or maybe some comic book nerds didn't listen to their other part of the episode.
But they're going to be very quick to comment on us and let us know how off we are. So send those comments.
Yeah, well, they can go to hell. So here's the thing. I can't give it 5 stars because I have some gripe.
Okay.
Let me tell you the kind of moviegoer I am.
Okay.
I'm the kind of moviegoer that I try really hard to suspend disbelief and just lean back.
And me too. I'm really good at that.
Just watch the movie.
Fall in it.
Let the movie speak for itself. Yeah. But sometimes things in movies just... It's one of those things where when you have some time to digest and a few days goes by, the things that really stand out in your brain that you just can't let go.
Okay, like which one?
So my first one is is Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Now, so first of all, I don't think you've seen Doctor Strange.
No, I haven't seen Doctor Strange, but from what I saw from Infinity War, he's a pretty badass dude.
So Doctor Strange is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
So first of all, Doctor Strange is really powerful.
Yeah.
Because he deals in an art that is totally unique and divorced from the rest of the gang.
Yeah.
It's not about super speed, super strength, X-ray vision, or flying.
Yeah.
He's literally, he uses an art where he can literally bend reality.
Yeah.
And there's one scene in the movie where, of course, he can open portals.
Yeah.
He can open portals to different places. And in one part of the movie, a giant alien monster is punching, and so that the guy punches into the portal instead of, and then he closes the portal.
And it cuts his arm off.
And so it cuts his arm off.
Yeah.
So two things. So one, why didn't he cut off Thanos' arm, cut off the Infinity Gauntlet?
You're right. I just subtracted a star.
Or for that matter, just cut his head off, or
cut
just
him in half. I mean, why didn't you just use that trick on Thanos?
Yeah, or just in general, when they were fighting on Titan, when they were fighting Thanos before he had gotten all the stones, before he'd even gotten the Time Stone, because Doctor Strange had it.
Right.
Doctor Strange theoretically should have been able to use a combination of his powers, plus at the time he still had the amulet that had the Time Stone in it. By all logic, he should easily be able to defeat Thanos by himself.
Yeah.
Easily. I mean, easily
I was
be able to do
actually
it.
thinking that when I was watching the movie. I was like, this dude can use a portal. It's like, why didn't he just use a portal to cut this dude in half? He'd done it before many times, right? I haven't seen the other movie, but I've assumed that that's a move of his. Yeah. So, I mean, what the heck, man? Why would he not go to his go-to move to take this dude out?
Yeah, so first of all, he is portrayed interestingly in the movie Doctor Strange because he's a guy and he learns to become what he becomes.
Yeah.
It's hard to say if we would presumably consider him having mastered the art by the time Infinity War. It's kind of like Luke Skywalker in the original Star Wars, where he's growing. By the time you get to Return of the Jedi, Luke is a badass Jedi.
Yeah.
Before that, he's certainly not.
Right.
But even in Return of the Jedi, I know I'm getting way off track here, but even in Return of the Jedi, we understand that Luke's way of going from learner to Jedi Knight was not the way it would have been done centuries before.
Sure, yeah.
So he kind of took a rocky road to get to where he was.
Kind of a shortcut, but
and so I sort of kind of apply that same logic to Doctor Strange, but still, he should be able to easily defeat Thanos. It's simply ridiculous.
Yeah. And he gave up so easy.
But hold on. Well, so of course, they would argue that he saw into these potential futures, and this is the way that they're going to win. He saw the way to win, and so he acted in a way to try to make that timeline happen.
Assuming there's a future story beyond that incorporates that,
first of all, it definitely will. Yeah, they're gonna do some sort of time manipulation thing and all that. And to that point, before I get off the last Doctor Strange thing, is I don't like any movie that messes too much with time manipulation because you're just opening up a can of worms that you can never close.
You can always win with that tactic.
Once you open up that Pandora's box, it can never be closed again.
Yeah, it can.
No. So hold it. So
it's kind of like Family Guy.
So the next thing, the next gripe I have is Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't even call her Black Widow. I just call her Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson is the Black Widow.
Yeah.
So Scarlett Johansson, look, she's a looker.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah. Sure.
But I'm pretty sure I can beat Scarlett Johansson in a fight.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I can.
Yeah.
Like...
Where's her power? She doesn't have powers.
She is a very skilled, operative.
So she's like a ninja.
She's like a special forces type. She's like a Delta Force Green Beret trained type.
Yeah.
Like a James. She's like a female James Bond in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah. And James Bond is cool and he can fight and all that. But he's not a superhero.
Yeah.
She's just a talented human.
Yeah.
And so, Captain America would argue that he's a talented human, but he's a super talented human because he's been given superhuman strength.
Yeah, sure.
So Scarlett Johansson in the battle in Wakanda, she gets into hand-to-hand combat with the big alien lady.
A super alien lady with massive mega uber powers.
And her name is like Midnight something. I don't remember what her name is.
She's amazing.
But she's super strong, super fast. So she is on par physically with like
almost
Captain America.
Thanos. Yeah.
With like a Captain America.
I mean, she's like...
If Captain America were to punch Scarlett Johansson in the face, his fist would go through the back of her skull.
Yeah. Pretty much
because
right
she's
through
a
her.
regular person.
Yeah.
And he's not.
Right. So how?
So the fact that she can whip out a couple of batons and start parrying blows from this super alien is so utterly ridiculous.
I know. Oh, but they'll argue. But she had help. She had help from that girl with the superpowers and that bald chick with the spear.
Well, the Scarlet Witch eventually killed the alien by throwing her into the machine.
Yeah.
But the other Wakanda lady is also just a person.
Yeah, she's just a human.
So not even two regular humans, but two women. And I know here comes the Eurosexist talk, but look,
it's not that.
Guess what? Biologically, strong men are stronger than strong women. By a ways, because muscle density and all that.
But when you're a big, massive, uber super alien with powers and stuff, you're going to be able to take out a whole lot of normal humans, girl or boy.
So when that whole scene was, I just couldn't watch it without. I lost it. Like I lost my train of thought for the movie because my mind shifted to she can't do that's stupid.
But it's artistic license. Maybe it's got something to do with future story.
It's stupid. Whatever. It's dumb.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'd say to that before I'm done with my gripes, and I'll
Okay.
let you I'll
have some gripes.
I'll let you have the final word
Yeah.
on Infinity
Okay.
War. Is so why doesn't she use a gun? Like she's a regular person. Why
you
doesn't
got
she
that
just...
other dude with that freaking gun. He's awesome.
Hold on. Would you quit interrupting? You're getting awfully uppity for the producer role all of a sudden.
Okay.
You know what? You're getting a little uppity.
Okay. Continue. Continue. Yes, sir.
So it's not like the idea of, oh, I'm just a regular dude, I should bring a gun to this fight. That's not like that's a foreign idea because there's people with guns in the movie.
Yeah.
So not only does the raccoon use guns. Of course, he's using like a laser gun or something.
He's awesome.
But he's like, I'm a raccoon. And there's like monsters around. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring a gun.
Because
and the Winter Soldier does that. Bucky does that too. Of course, he does have the arm. He has the cybernetic arm, which is all strong and stuff. But even with that, he's like, I have a cybernetic arm, but you know what? There's giant fanged monsters and aliens running around.
Millions of them.
I'm going to bring a gun.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shoot them in the face, and they're going to die.
That's right.
Which, you know what? Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's
that is
actually
logic.
smart.
That is
That's in your
logic.
head.
So it's not just that's logically consistent in our world. That's also logically consistent in the Marvel world as well.
Sure.
If you shoot a guy in the head, he dies. And then there you go.
Yeah,
and then you've saved the day. You've beaten the superhero.
Especially when there's hundreds of millions of giant fang monsters.
Like of course, I know this is DC versus Marvel, but like you've seen in Superman where like they shoot him in the eye and the bullet crumples off of his eye because it really goes to show how strong Superman is.
Yeah.
But in the Marvel world, I mean, granted, there's really strong people, but in the Marvel world, like Captain America blocks bullets with his shield because he doesn't want to get shot.
Exactly.
Because getting shot is bad.
Yes, that hurts.
That hurts. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, no.
And so they're not stupid. So they also know, well, I bet the bad guys don't want to get shot too. So they use a gun.
Yeah.
So why isn't she? So instead of using guns,
but hasn't she been a gun person in the past?
Well, she's used guns
two
before.
Pistols and like
so instead of using guns, so she shows up to a battlefield versus aliens and monsters, and she doesn't bring a gun like Bucky, like other characters in that very movie do.
Yeah, like her normally,
she brings two batons.
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
I don't understand the writing behind that. You're right. Thinking about that takes a lot from her character.
The core of the movie is good.
Yeah.
The plot is left to be wanting, in my opinion. And we'll get to the libertarian thing in just a second. Okay. But as much as I enjoyed the action and enjoyed the effects, and my favorite characters are still my favorite characters because I enjoyed them in the movie as well, those things I just can't forget. I just can't push those things out of my mind. I don't know. I guess I'm just an idiot.
Here's my take. Okay. I love Thanos. I love him.
So you love a sociopathic monster.
I love that sociopathic psycho monster. I think it's incredibly cool. And my take is like, okay, I disagree with him being a murderous monster.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you do.
But, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. Mm-hmm. There's some logic to his theory. Even though it's insane and crazy, in the Marvel universe, he sees what he's doing as the right thing. Now, We all know that that's not the right thing to do. We don't wipe out half of the universe to save some farmland. What we do is we make more farmland.
Okay, hold on.
And that's where I'm not going there all the way.
I know. Well,
But
you're supposed to be setting me up.
I am setting you up.
But you've already done it.
I have not done
so
it all
you
the
finished.
way.
You talk. You do
I
the
have not
whole.
done it all the
You
way.
do the whole
I
economic
set you
thing.
that up.
Okay.
But the next thing is this. I want to talk about Gamora for a second.
Okay. Talk about Gamora for a second.
Because to me, I love Gamora.
Okay. So first of
and
all,
her character, and I love the story of her being taken by him, raised by him to be a monster, who she realizes that he's wrong, turns on him, only to come back and wind up being the sacrifice that he makes in order to get power. And how much that actually took from him. And to me, that's the coolest part of the whole story.
All I'm going to say about that is that even though Zoe Saldana is green, she's still hot.
Okay, but her character, but Gamora's a cool character.
That's all I have to say.
Okay. Anyhow,
so back to the economic conversation.
Let's
and this,
talk about that,
We're
because that's where it gets
we're gonna do this for 30 seconds and then we're wrapping the show because I got to go do sports ball.
Yeah, you got to do sports ball.
So the plot of why Thanos is doing what he's doing is different in the comics than in the movie.
Okay.
In the comics, it's dumb, it's evil, but it's different than in the movies. The movies make absolutely no sense, and this is why. It's again, these movies are made by people who are economically illiterate.
Right.
Imagine that. So supposedly he comes from a world that expanded and grew so fast population-wise that they didn't have the resources to support it, and then there was massive famine and starvation and death and destruction. And so he doesn't want to see that happen to other people. So the way he prevents that from happening is he wants to destroy half of all life so that the life that is left then will have plenty of resources to distribute amongst them.
Yes.
That's ridiculous for two reasons.
Okay.
First of all, it's economically illiterate for two reasons. First of all, society, culture expands, population expands based on the resources that are available.
Right.
It will not naturally expand beyond what resources can provide. Because then you would have massive starvation and death and destruction.
Right.
But that doesn't actually happen. Society only grows based on what can be provided for
or produced
or
created.
And in fact, actually, more often than not, having more people actually means you can produce more goods. You're gonna give birth to more people who can create, who can invent new things and create new things.
Do more with what you have.
Do more with what you have. So actually, more people, way more often than not, is a good thing.
Yep.
And furthermore, for the people that are like, well, but everything is there's so much traffic. It's too crowded here. It's only crowded in the big cities you refuse to leave.
Yeah.
You can go tour around Iowa and Kansas and Nebraska.
Go drive in the outback areas of
fly over country that you think those people are ignorant and stupid, and you don't go there except for you see it outside your plane window. Trust me, there's plenty of space for you.
If you've ever stood in the middle of 10,000 acres and looked around and realized, man, there's nothing out here, you'll understand.
Yeah. And then the final thing is that if let's presume he's correct. If you presume the idea that society is just going to expand beyond what it's capable of providing for, and then there's going to be war and famine over the resources, and so you snap your fingers, destroy half of all life. Why won't it happen again?
Yeah. Wouldn't it just all grow back and happen again in a few million years?
Exactly. Why would you think that somehow society will magically have somehow learned a lesson and not just simply regrow to where it was before?
Exactly.
It won't just stay constant. In fact, it won't stay constant. That's why theoretically you did what you did in the first place.
Yeah.
It's because it grows.
So
why do you think it won't grow? Yeah. So all the way around, the main plot line, the logic behind why the bad guy Thanos does what he does is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. And the question is, does he realize that when he's sitting in front of there staring at that sunrise he wanted?
He doesn't, because the authors of the screenplay are economically illiterate. That's why he doesn't.
Sadly.
But the question becomes, can you still enjoy the movie even though the premise behind that is ridiculous? I would argue, yes, you can still enjoy the movie. I still enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
But that's why it doesn't get 5 stars.
Gotcha.
There you go.
My star system is based on something totally different than yours.
You know what? Each week we do a review, we should have a different system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, we'll do
My system is purely based on emotion and geekness.
Well,
and cheese.
Well, this is what we'll do. We'll be good little status. What we'll do is that we'll review a different movie based on an 8-star system, and it'll only get 5 out of 8.
Okay.
But if you look at total stars, it actually got 1 more star than Infinity War, even though Infinity War was based on 5 stars. You see how that works?
Yeah, it's very complicated.
That is government in action
that is
right
government
there.
In action.
Yeah,
very good.
That's why I shouldn't be the president, right there.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't want that job.
I would, just so I could see it burn. But that's another story.
You can do that without being president.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Remember, it's facebook.com/TGS Alan Mosley. Twitter is at Alan M. Mosley. Twitch.tv/Little L Productions. Little L Productions being the network under which you can find The Gold Standard, The Sherry Voluntary Show, Postcards from Somalia, Thoughts from Mahari's Head, and Sports Ball, which I'll be filming in like 10 minutes. I got to go. Is there any... Oh, and also you can now find us on your podcast platform of choice, including iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and TuneIn.
Very good.
We're a real show.
We're a real show.
Next week is the 1-year anniversary extravaganza.
That's right.
Tom Woods interview season 2 opener.
Number 1.
Extravaganza.
That's
extravaganza.
Right. That's right. We made it a year.
Yeah, we made it.
And we've got a really exciting guest, and we're good.
And I got to go.
You got to go. Go to the sports ball. Don't break a leg.
Join us next week.